Bienvenue à tous. Welcome to Reporters Plus here on France 24, our in-depth look at the big stories. In this edition, how international sanctions against human rights abuse in Syria have led to a hidden cross-border trade that's sapping some $15 million a day from Lebanon. This illicit trade has grown to contravene sanctions imposed by the United States on various industries, businesses, as well as 39 individuals close to President Bashar al-Assad, a situation which is preventing the international community from coming to the aid of ordinary Lebanese people who are now facing financial hardship due to the mismanagement of their country. Mayssa, Awad and James André sent this from Beirut.
Sheikh NASREDDINE's bodyguards are preparing for a trip to the Syrian border.
Guns are a man's jewels. When the state's absent, you have to fend for yourself, right?
AMMAR NASREDDINE is at the helm of one of HERMEL's most powerful families. This region, on the border between Lebanon and Syria, is riddled with smugglers. This is a family outing. The Sheikh is taking his sons and daughters with him. Security is tight.
We are on the road to Al-Qasr village in Haush Sayyid Ali on the Syrian border. You're going to see the smuggling with your own eyes.
People in HERMEL complain that their area has been abandoned by the Lebanese state. There are no hospitals or universities here. The locals' largest source of revenue was wiped out when the government cracked down on drugs in 1990.
All of this land belongs to our family, the NASREDDINE family. 10 or 15 years ago, all of those fields were planted with cannabis. Those were more comfortable times. We could pay our taxes, our bills. Now people have nothing left to lose.
At the end of this road, a first Syrian flag appears, along with soldiers loyal to Bashar al-Assad's government.
That's the Syrian army. We call them the Hijane. They're policing the border.
There is no checkpoint, not even a signpost, but we've just left Lebanese soil and entered Syrian territory. This road that runs along the canal is one of the border's most active smuggling hotspots. The flow of motorcycles and tinted-windowed SUVs appears never-ending opposite the Syrian army's positions placed every few hundred meters. The border is closed because of the coronavirus pandemic, and Western powers have imposed sanctions on Syria. The United States are enforcing the Caesar bill that bans all transactions with entities linked to Bashar al-Assad or his entourage. Officially, nothing is supposed to cross the border. Sheikh AMMAR takes us to a plot of land he owns along the canal.
I'm taking you right onto the border. You'll see the smuggling for yourself. Let's get there before the smugglers run off. That's the Assi River. It's also the border between Lebanon and Syria. And look, you can see the Syrian border guard. There's an operation taking place over there on the bridge. The cars park, and they load them up.
The smugglers have spotted our camera.
Stop filming. They're fleeing now. What they're doing is illegal, but personally, I don't think it's illegal. They're Lebanese, not Syrian. They're Lebanese.
Here, Most families have members on both sides of the border. Moving goods across is an everyday activity.
A little bit of diesel, a gas cylinder, that's the trafficking that's going on. It's not going to ruin a country, a state where the people are respected and a state that respects its people. What are we supposed to do? Let them come up with an alternative.
The sheikh is playing down the smuggling. But some traffickers are willing to invest large sums to be able to move big quantities across.
It's a petrol station. They're building it on the border, of course. If they can make a living out of some trafficking, they'll do it.
The fuel is delivered legally on the Lebanese side and then smuggled into Syria. The road crosses back into Lebanon. Al-Kasr village is known as a major trafficking hub. It's a Shiite stronghold controlled by HEZBOLLAH and AMMAR.
God bless the soul of General Suleiman, and may Nasrallah live a long life. They have restored our dignity and our strength.
Here, there are trucks full of merchandise.
See that truck? That's a smuggler.
Can we talk to him?
We'll talk to the drivers a little further on the road. Here in the village, they're nervous.
The road snakes up north towards other passage points that dot the 370 kilometers of border with Syria. We asked the sheikh to ask lorry drivers what they are hauling and hide the camera.
Get out of your truck. Get out. Don't be afraid. Where are you from?
Israel in the north.
You're from Israel? What are you doing around here?
I'm transporting sheep.
What's in your truck?
A car.
Ah, a scrapped car. What goods are you carrying?
It's hay.
May God give you strength. Some of it goes to the north of Lebanon, some of it goes to Syria. If there's a price difference, they'll smuggle it to make a profit. That's their job.
All sorts of merchandise is smuggled into Syria, especially goods that are subsidized by the Lebanese state, like sheep or hay. Traffickers aren't even running a big risk.
The case is handled by the Financial Prosecutor's Office. You pay and you're free to leave. It happens all the time.
We asked to return via the Canal Road, on the Syrian side. This time the smugglers are more active. Trucks are being unloaded right opposite the Syrian border posts.
They're doing it in front of everyone. Everyone.
The Syrian economy, destroyed by 10 years of war, is crippled by sanctions. Soldiers have no interest in stopping the smuggling.
They're more worried about cameras than weapons. It drives them mad. It's a disgrace.
The smuggler chose not to shoot directly at our car and start a war with Sheikh NASREDDINE. Lebanon is facing economic turmoil. Corruption, political upheaval, capital flight, smuggling, and coronavirus have come together in a perfect storm. The whole country is affected, including Beirut, the capital. The Lebanese pound has collapsed, losing 90% of its value against the dollar, and the people are angry. Everyday protesters gather to block roads all over the country.
What is President Aoun waiting for? He needs to give up his place instead of accusing us of being hooligans. We're hungry, it's his fault. He won't let go of power, but it's time for him to leave.
There are 6 of us, and the dollar's now worth more than 10,000 Lebanese pounds. How can we survive? Do we need to steal?
The powerful are stuffing themselves.
Why is everything going to Syria?
You can't find any sugar here. Lots of products are unavailable. There's no food, no medicine. We have nothing more to lose, just this fire. Either they extinguish our anger, or it will consume us.
Purchasing power has plummeted. Mid-2019, before the crisis, the minimum wage was worth $450. Today, it hovers around $60. This supermarket is in a middle-class suburb, northeast of Beirut. Riyad is the marketing manager. He has to weather the customers' rising frustration.
The Lebanese economy is dollarized. Everything is imported and paid for in dollars, depending on exchange rates. And right now, they fluctuate wildly throughout the day.
The prices change so fast, the shop has stopped displaying them. Inflation is sky high.
Look, the price has gone up to 19,800 Lebanese pounds. We're losing our country. We're collapsing. They're stealing everything. Oh, poor Lebanon.
A year ago, to dampen the anger, the government started subsidizing 300 basic commodities at a cost of $500 million a month. And yet, there are shortages, and shops are forced to ration.
Lentils are subsidized, bulgur and rice are too, and that's it. We have no oil, no shampoo, no washing powder. It's a miserable life.
Look, I have 8 mouths to feed, and that's all I can buy. It's nothing. This is the aisle for subsidized products. I'd like to subsidize a one-way ticket to hell to all those who are diverting goods elsewhere.
Shops and wholesalers are accused of stockpiling subsidized goods, waiting for the prices to rise, or smuggling them abroad.
93,500 pounds, please.
Okay, I'll see if I have enough. When you see whole trucks going abroad in broad daylight with no one checking them, of course I'm worried. For now, there are still some goods available. Soon there might be nothing left on the shelves.
Everybody is desperate for milk. Look, the shelves are already empty. It's the same for sugar and oil. People are on the lookout for these products, so they go straight away.
You're out of milk?
There are no more sachets of powder. We're out of stock.
Because you've kept them to one side.
No, not at all. I'm sold out.
Ah, okay, sorry.
Shortages are causing tensions to rise, and many shops have been attacked.
Yes, 20 people forced their way into the shop. They smashed everything as they went. They attacked the staff. They threw products on the ground, accusing us of hiding subsidized goods. We're not stocking these goods away. We receive them from the wholesalers who deliver the items. They then stay in our depot for around half an hour so we can put the price tags on before they're put on the shelves. 30 minutes in total. Then they all disappear in about 3 minutes. People are waiting for these goods. They're hungry.
We showed these pictures to Sheikh NASREDDINE in the guest lounge of his house in HERMEL.
It breaks my heart to see us Lebanese going through all of this. All of this trouble for milk powder and getting subsidies. May God help them. What more can I say? At this stage, there's no more hope.
But people are accusing you of causing the shortages by smuggling subsidized goods.
May God forgive them. So we're the ones impoverishing Lebanon? The country has announced it's bankrupt. In truth, it's been the case for years. What happened to government coffers? It's well known that those in power over the past 30 years have been stealing public money. Trafficking is not new. It's been going on for decades. In Syria, the Caesar law triggered a social and economic crisis more serious than our own. There are relatives. If they're hungry, we're hungry, and vice versa. The border is open and the checkpoints are shut. Custom officers are absent. They're the ones who are meant to check for trafficking. There are army patrols. They're trying to stop smugglers. They confiscate vehicles, even whole trucks with everything on board.
These tankers filled with thousands of liters of petrol, diesel and gas are waiting to cross the checkpoint in Arbata. It is the gateway to northern Lebanon, HERMEL and the border. Experts estimate that 60% of subsidized fuel is smuggled into Syria. The Lebanese army is deployed at border posts like this one, just north of Kasr.
Show me your papers.
The bill?
Yes.
The petrol station kept it.
The soldier has no choice but let the truck go. Its fuel has been delivered to a station on the Lebanese side of the border. Nothing illegal here. At this stage, it's impossible to know if it will be smuggled into Syria.
Cut the engine.
This checkpoint is permanent and well known to smugglers. The Lebanese army is here to show its presence, but to combat smuggling, they use more mobile and discreet tactics.
The army is deployed to strategic spots around the valleys and on high ground to keep a lookout. That's a Lebanese army post overlooking the valley. Every move is detected. We receive a message as soon as there's any suspicious movement. We patrol 24 hours a day and check anything suspicious right away. The terrain is uneven and it's easy to hide. So we have to do our patrols on foot to ensure there are no traffickers or people wanted by the police.
فوت العسكر يفتش بقلب القصب.
Before the Syrian revolution, goods were smuggled from Syria into Lebanon. After the Syrian crisis began, trafficking changed direction from our side to theirs. Petrol is the main product, as well as subsidized goods like flour. We seize a lot of these products and hand them over to the relevant authorities.
The army's work is made even harder because a part of Lebanon's political class has nothing to gain from stopping the smuggling.
Everyone needs to wake up. Our people are going hungry and no one cares.
The president needs to go.
In Beirut, protests and roadblocks continue.
There are no more medicine, there's no paracetamol, no more vitamins. A mask costs £4,000. All of the medicines are smuggled abroad, everything goes to Syria. They're not even hiding it. No, you're not allowed through, it's shut, move back. I will sleep here on the street, I won't budge, I'll spend the night here.
Goods are being smuggled to Syria. They don't even hide it. We know who's behind this.
I'm telling you, it's Iran. Iran rules this country. The Persian state commands our country. It should be said plainly. Our parliament is under orders from Iran, and they're managing all forms of corruption. Smuggling money, you name it. Hezbollah and the AMMAR party are the ones who have real power. They control us. Who else would it be?
When Hezbollah became directly involved in the Syrian war back in 2013, it widened political divides in Lebanon and distanced the country from some of its Arab and Western allies. The motorway that leads to their stronghold in the south bears the colors of the Shiite pro-Iranian political party. Ansar village is one of their bastions. Many young men left this region to go and fight in Syria alongside the army of Bashar al-Assad. The exact numbers are kept secret, but it is safe to say that over 5,000 Hezbollah fighters crossed the border. Many never made it home.
Our village Ansar lost 4 martyrs in the sacred battle to defend us during the Syrian war.
One of them was Mohammed, Nawal's son. He is buried here.
I come every Thursday. I speak with him. I tell him everything that happened during the day. I feel like he answers me and hears me. The martyrs live on, but we don't sense it.
Nawal has turned her house into a shrine, celebrating her son's sacrifice.
I offered him up. I gave them my son. I told him, go ahead, and may God be with you. And so he went. He fought, and thank God he returned home victorious. And I was crowned by his martyrdom.
Do you believe Hezbollah won the war?
I don't mean to mock you. Yes, of course we won. Of course. There's no victory without paying for it in blood. There's no victory without sacrifice. It doesn't exist without martyrs. You don't have victory, dignity, and honor served up to you on a silver platter. We are with Bashar al-Assad, and Bashar is with us. Whether it be Bashar or someone else, every person who supports the axis of resistance and our dignity and honor, we are with him. The resistance will continue. One last thing, I can tell you we'll always meet any challenge. No one can crush us. Let them try with their sanctions. The dollar exchange rate is not down to the state collapsing, it's purely political. They're fighting against the resistance. Believe me, everything that's going on in Lebanon is a war against us. They use everything. But we won't go hungry. For our side, we'll eat stones if we have to.
Fighting has died down in Syria, but Hezbollah still has boots on the ground. Sheikh SADEK al-NABOULSI is a Shiite cleric, designated by Hezbollah to answer our questions. Their fight is now on the economic front, against Western sanctions.
It's a change in strategy. Instead of exerting military pressure, they're exerting economic pressure. They're doing that because their military project in Syria failed. Now we, as well as Syria, are targeted by another kind of war. We're trying to break this economic siege through partnerships with countries that have international influence, like Russia and China.
In this context, Hezbollah considers that smuggling is justified.
Of course, smuggling is part of the resistance to defend Lebanese interests. What is happening now under American pressure and with the current sanctions is that the Lebanese and Syrian people have no choice but to cross the border, break rules and satisfy their needs.
Still, the party denies any direct implication.
It would be a lie to say that Hezbollah is profiting from these subsidized goods and is smuggling them into Syria. It's the powerful traders that are making big profits and those with key jobs in the Lebanese state. You can't ask Hezbollah to guard the border and stop smuggling. That's the responsibility of the security services, in particular the Lebanese army.
Back at the border with the Lebanese army. The soldiers are playing cat and mouse with organized and heavily armed smuggler networks. They disappear before the patrol can stop them.
Did you see? Did you see?
It's over, he's gone. That's where you got shot at.
We are back on the road beside the canal.
Look, they're smuggling.
It's happening on the Syrian side.
The Lebanese army is not allowed to intervene across the border. 10 years after the start of the Syrian war, these soldiers are on the front line of a new geopolitical battle, played out across Lebanon's borders. Bashar al-Assad's regime on one side benefiting from illicit trade, with its allies turning a blind eye so it can bypass sanctions. On the other side, the West, demanding Lebanon puts an end to smuggling as a condition for aid in order not to finance the very regime they're seeking to sanction. And caught in the middle, the Lebanese people who have to watch powerlessly as a large part of their economy is siphoned away.
Our reporters Mayssa, Awad and James André. See their report again via our website France24.com. This is Reporters Plus. Thank you for watching. Stay with us. Most of all, stay safe.